So why should people feel confident getting on the subways, and what are you doing to make them safe with kids about to return to middle school?
Releasing new crime numbers showing a decrease in murders and shooting incidents. When the numbers from September of this year are compared to last September, murders decreased by 22%. Shooting incidents also down by 9.3%. There were almost 400 gun arrests last month, bringing the total number to more than 3,400 for the year.
And assaults and robberies were also flat or up, considering subway ridership has plunged by 70+%.
We begin with the 16-year-old, one of at least 4 teenage victims of gun violence in the city this week alone.
Shot in the head.
Releasing new crime numbers showing a decrease in murders and shooting incidents.
Point blank daytime shooting is one of the latest incidents of gun violence in the city.
A 16-year-old is dead and a 24-year-old now fighting for his life after a shooting on the Lower East Side.
He died at the hospital, and police are still looking for that gunman.
When the numbers from September of this year are compared to last September, murders decreased by 22%.
There were 23 shootings in the city. By mid-July of last year, there were 667 shootings.
He was going to change his life around. He just came home from doing 8 months. And I said, I'll be there Tuesday to get you.
Isaiah's older brother says this all happened when a group of Isaiah and his friends were shooting a music video. Sources say Isaiah was affiliated with a gang and had been arrested before. Oliver Levine Sr. gets emotional thinking about his son Isaiah. Police say the 16-year-old was fatally shot in the face Friday night at the intersection of Delancey and Suffolk Streets. He was brought to Bellevue Hospital where he was pronounced dead.
He asked me, Dad, could I come live with you? I said yes.
Police are investigating after a man believed to be a delivery worker was fatally stabbed in Chinatown early this morning.
Shooting incidents also down by 9.3%.
The NYPD says the 51-year-old victim was stabbed in the stomach and the face while the suspect tried to steal his bicycle. Police say a Grubhub delivery bag was tied to the victim's bike.
There were almost 400 gun arrests last month, bringing the total number to more than 3,400 for the year.
That is more than triple the number for the same period both in 2019 and last year. This year's grim tally includes children as young as 10 years old.
We're freezing the video here just before shots hit 21-year-old Perios Simeon.
One criminal justice expert interviewed for this report says that the pandemic is to blame.
On a playground, the search now for the gunman who escaped on a city bike.
A confrontation inside a Manhattan Apple store after a customer refused to wear a mask. It happened Friday in the meatpacking district. The customer was asked to wear a mask but refused. He can be seen here attacking a security guard. He then left the store but later came back, allegedly striking a female employee before stabbing the guard in the stomach and arm and slashing him on the head.
The starvation death of a 7-year-old boy in Newburgh. The Orange County DA says Peter Kouakis weighed just 37 pounds when he died in February. His main caregiver, Felicia Bravo, is facing murder charges, accused of leaving him locked in a room without food back in January.
To a New Jersey nurse who died after she was knocked to the ground in Times Square by a mugger. Police say 26-year-old Jermaine Foster plowed into her outside a Times Square pizzeria on Friday after stealing another woman's cell phone. In a CBS 2 exclusive, his stepfather says Foster suffers from mental illness and needs help.
Is that what it is?
I'm sure he's off his medication. If
and maybe he needs some reparations too.
Pushing somebody or anything, that means he's off his medication.
Sources tell us Foster was also involved in a groping incident last month, after which he was released on his own recognizance.
There were 4 other victims that were injured. Police did return gunfire and did strike the gunman, and he was taken to a local hospital where he is undergoing some surgery right now. Those 4 other men who were also hit by gunfire. Now, police say there was a shooting here at this exact corner about a month ago, but police are saying that the 2 incidents, as of right now, are not connected. For now, that's latest from here in Manhattan. Alyssa Policelli will send it back to you.
Alyssa, thank you. Jury deliberations continue today in R. Kelly's sex trafficking trial in Brooklyn on Friday.
Look, there's no question, if you look at the efforts made over the last 7 years, and you look at the subways now compared to what they were like not that long ago in this city, they are much, much safer. We have work to do always.
New at 5, police just released photos of the woman who they say shoved another woman into a moving subway train in Times Square. Luckily for police, as you can see, she wasn't wearing a mask, so it's a pretty good look at her face. The victim did not fall onto the track. She went into a train, but she is going to be okay. Investigators are calling this an unprovoked attack.
That's what precision policing is all about. Go ahead. Can you hear me, Noel?
I guess I'm just a little, sorry, I heard you. I'm just a little confused by your answer. So your point is because the subways are safer now than they were in the early 1990s when people put their wallets in their front pocket instead of their back pocket, that we should accept the doubling in murders year over year?
No, of course not. Nolan, obviously not.
They pushed a 54-year-old woman onto subway tracks yesterday. It happened at the 174th Street station just before 8 in the morning. Police say the attacker, wearing bright yellow pants, walked up without saying a word and pushed the victim toward the tracks. She was able to regain her balance, but the attacker allegedly pushed her again, causing her to fall. Good Samaritans helped her up, and she was not seriously hurt. Police say the suspect was spotted at a bodega after the attack.
Again, I can tell you about 6 years where we had steady decrease in crime, where the city got safer and safer. In fact, we literally had a point not long ago where there was one index crime per million subway riders per day. And there's no question we're going to come back strong in 2021. But
new video this morning shows the suspect wanted in an attack on an MTA bus driver in Brooklyn. Police say the man spit on the driver as he was getting off the bus on Clarkson Avenue in Brownsville yesterday morning. The 57-year-old driver followed him off. Then they got into a verbal dispute, and the suspect allegedly hit the driver in the head with a piece of wood he picked up off the ground. The driver lost consciousness and was taken to Kings County Hospital, where he is listed in stable condition. The suspect ran off.
5:05 right now happening today, opening.
But we've got to be clear about the fact that the subways over years and years and years have gotten safer. They are a place that people can depend on. As more and more people come back, I'm very, very confident that our subways are going to work for everyone in every sense, including safety.
Was targeted or an innocent bystander. So far, no arrests.
Today, the DeBlasio administration faced questions from state lawmakers about the crisis on Rikers Island. Many state lawmakers have toured Rikers, seeing the rough conditions firsthand.
On Thursday, Scott was arrested and charged for allegedly punching a nurse in the face while being treated at a Manhattan hospital. His bail was set to $15,000 cash, $45,000 bond, an amount Scott could not pay.
No one would even listen to me. But today I watch the news and everybody is losing sleep over some guy who punched a nurse in the face and couldn't make bail. And now the whole state is up in arms about it.
On the same day, a jail oversight panel issued a report detailing the failings of the correction department in preventing the suicide of another detainee. Sources say Anthony Scott took his own life, also while in custody, after he found out he could not make his bail.
But when I didn't have a subway token, and I slipped through the turnstile the way so many people do once in a while, I had the living shit beat out of me. And this is like literally the first time I ever even interacted with a cop in my life. And nobody gave a shit. This was the defining moment of my life, I'm sad to say. In 1993, because I didn't have a subway token one night, late at night, I slipped through and a black female NYPD transit officer beat the living shit out of me. But what was worse than the beating was the indifference I was shown by everyone, absolutely everyone, from my own family to the attorneys that briefly tried to sue the city. And I saw the investigator from Eyewitness News, Dave Evans, last night, covering a story about this neurotic guy giving cops a hard time for not having their masks on.
Is it appropriate for officers to physically assault someone and throw them out of a station for asking them to follow the law? I would say no.
Andy Gilbert tells us he got off the W train around 8 a.m. and saw two unmasked police officers on the platform, a sight he says is common on his commute.
I just take my phone out and I'll politely ask them hey, can you just follow the rules like everyone else and wear a mask? The male officer there basically was playing dumb and pretending he couldn't hear what I said. He was saying, oh, I can't hear you with your mask on.
Gilbert brother says he continued asking them from a distance to cover up.
And, it was just such a pathetic story. And it brought me back to, at least 25 years ago when I had called this guy. I sent an email to, write us at the investigators if something happened to you. Those kind of things. And I had this phone call with him, and he was so pro-cops, so thin blue line, cops do nothing wrong, you'll never prove it, just didn't give a shit. And I just can't help but wonder if people really can't make the connection, that by ignoring what happened to me and all that it may or may not entail, like the fact that I got a fake letter from it wasn't the civilian complaint review board, it was the mass had said something like the transit police complaint review board. It wasn't even a real governing body. But nobody cares. I still have all of these files. I've never gotten over this. And so I just, I wish I could laugh at everything that's going on today. All I see is the insincerity. And that's why nothing is ever going to change.
I'm recently retired from the New York City Police Department. Once I retired about a year ago, I opened up my practice, which is called Human Development Services, a practice that specializes in the art of mindfulness. So essentially what I do is I train individuals to think differently with their minds.
It was always so hard to describe what she did to me, and when I saw this video on Twitter about a year ago, that was the first time I'd ever seen anyone else do this.
So my practice is heavily built on stress management and relationship development.
This was a woman reporter in Myanmar having this done to her by a male cop. But I've never even seen that in the movies.
All of the research that I did, all centered around what I needed to do to reach the end goal, which was providing and having a practice. The research that I had done during my years of study with Capella actually allowed me to write my book, Who Helps the Helper. Had I not had the guidance and support from Capella, I wouldn't know how to offer that to my clients. I'm absolutely glad that I attended Capella because they did give me the skill set as well as the mindset to be able to have confidence and self-assurance that I could make it.
Keep things in perspective. Maybe not everything is as big as a deal as you make it out to be.
It was so hard to try to describe what she did to me, and then I saw this clip last year. I described her as like a caveman taking my hair over my head and kneeing me in the side of the temple over and over again, banging me against the wall.
6. Avoid seeing the stressful situation as impossible to manage. Although some problems appear as if they cannot be overcome, there are other ways of handling them.
At the age of 32, I had never even spoken to a cop before in my life. This is my first encounter with a cop because I didn't have a subway token in the city one night.
Last, if all else fails, seek professional assistance. For more practical tips, be sure to visit my website, which is www.drdebimoore.org.
Like, why you don't love us? That's the question we want to ask police. Why you don't love us?